Thomas, come on up here. Yes, yeah. Young is relative, right? You're only as old as you feel.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for getting me alive today, and I have this opportunity to talk to you. There was a time I didn't believe that because you couldn't shake his hand, you couldn't talk to him, you couldn't see him, so he wasn't there. Real quick history. I come from Long Beach, Southern California, home of Snoop Dogg and Cameron Diaz and Sublime. Very secular state. I don't want to say there's not churches out there because I'd be a liar. There are churches. But there's also a lot of other things. And by not being spiritual, the only spirituality I had growing up, my mom would send me to vacation Bible school to get rid of me for a few weeks. So she didn't have to watch me. I'd go there. That was it. Nothing on Sunday. Sundays was Little League baseball. My mom and dad divorced, had that void. I filled that void doing drugs, a lot of drugs. I was an addict, looking back about 13. I've done every drug there is except for the new designer drugs they have out here today, which is, I don't even know what they are. They change them every week. I had that void because I had no spirituality. And when you don't have that, you try and fill with something else. I tried to fill with drugs, didn't work. Alcohol didn't work. JJ watches. Carousing around didn't work. I will keep it G-rated, Glenn. Crime didn't work. Gangs didn't work. When you start selling drugs, you have a lot of money, you have a lot of drugs, you have a lot of relationships, but they're not really relationships. When the drugs are gone, they're gone. Ladies, you know that. Guys, you know that. I found that out the hard way. I'll get into that a little later, last year. But I still was empty. And I kept trying to fill it. More drugs, more alcohol. Pretty soon you lose your jobs. You still have the addiction. You're going to do crime. You do crime, where are you going to go? Jail. When you go through jail, where are you going to go? Prison. Prison is an exclusive club. The only way you can get there is a judge has to invite you. You can't just go to the gate and say, hey, I want to stay. You have to have an invitation. I liked it so much, I had about 8 invitations. I've been charged with 29 felonies, been convicted of 15. I have 8 DUIs. That's my lifetime now. Been to prison 2 terms in California, 8 parole violations, and about 45 trips to the LA County Jail, which is worse than any prison you've ever seen. I tried, my parole officers, probation officers, send me to NA and AA meetings. They talk about a higher power. Some people would get up and share their higher power was the ocean, or their higher power was a mountain, or a rock. I think that's a crock. I relapsed every single time, and when I say relapsed, I relapsed and kept doing drugs, doing it. Never went to a faith-based rehab till I came here last year, but that's towards the end. Moved to Las Vegas, stayed there 3 years, and that is a real sin city, let me tell you. Okay, Vegas is wide open. When I found out there, that was rather interesting. There's a small population there of Mormons. and they have their lifestyle. And there's a few people that go to church there, but you don't hear about that. All you hear about is the casinos and everything else that's going on. I didn't find it there. I moved back to California, kept doing drugs. Then I found methamphetamine, and that was my biggest downfall. I loved it. I worshiped it, and I sold it. And when you sell meth, all the bad things that come with it, okay? Now I'm paying the price for that, health-wise and other things. But I left California and moved to Tennessee. I moved there to get away from meth. I figured, geographic change, this will be better. Well, if you're an addict, it don't matter where you move. You're going to find it. It's going to find you. And when I first got there, everybody was doing pain pills. So I didn't know the difference between what they were. Then I became a pharmacist. And I started doing a lot of those, and I started doing meth. And then I started selling it so I could facilitate my drug habit and my wife's. And when that happened, I caught pneumonia in 2009, and I basically died on the operating table. They cut me open and doctor said he pulled the infection off my lung like an orange. So somebody upstairs was looking out for me there. You know, even after everything I'd done. I read in the Bible that Jesus didn't hang with the higher echelon. He hung with the beggar, the thieves, and the criminals. So I definitely earned a place at his table, and he looked after me. I recovered. Then I kept getting pneumonias. And if anybody's familiar with a ventilator, they hook you up and it breathes for you. And you're kind of in a state between life and death because you're not breathing on your own. I've been on that 5 times. The only other time I felt that was when I came here to Promised Land last year, came down to the altar. That was the only other time I ever felt that feeling. I told Glenn about it. Last year, how I got here, I was facing 2 serious felonies, felon with a sawed-off shotgun, and sale of meth. The guy that I sold meth to was a CI. And CIs, where I come from, get dealt with, and you know how that is. So my lawyer told me, don't do anything. I know this place called Promised Land. Go down there, and you'll look good for the judge. The problem was, he wanted me to go to South Carolina. I called them up. They wouldn't answer a call. I went online. I looked up Promised Land, and there was an 850 number. And first time I got a call back from Mr. Hamill, I was getting high. My wife answered the phone, and she said, preacher's on the phone. I called him back the next day, and he told me about it. I said, okay, I'll get back to you. A couple weeks later, I got down here. If that guy hadn't of, quote unquote, ratted me out, I would have never come here. I would have never found spirituality. When I came down here last year, had a heart attack, had open heart surgery. Glenn, Richie, KJ, the Hamill family, Ed, everybody at Promised Land was there for me. And if I would have been in Tennessee, I would have been dead. A bunch of tweakers seeing somebody having a heart attack is not going to know what to do. So I had to add that. By the grace of God, I was able to come here. with a special thank you to Glenn, Richie, and JJ guiding me, listening to me, because I had some personal issues going on last year. And remember one thing stuck with me from Glenn. I had a very toxic relationship with my wife. And he looked at me and he said, you know, a broken person plus a broken person equals a big broken person. And Glenn, by the way, you're the only guy younger than me that I've ever taken advice from. But it's been sound advice, and I appreciate it. I'd like to say Proverbs 27:1 says, do not boast about tomorrow, for you don't know what tomorrow will bring. I heard that in another way at an NA meeting. An actor named Danny Trejo, he played in Machete and a bunch of other movies. He said, if you have 1 foot in yesterday, 1 foot in tomorrow, you're peeing all over today. With that, I'd like to thank everybody. Thanks for your time.